Hey everyone, Bryant here again, and I'd just like to start off by saying thank you to everyone that watched the last video. I received a lot of messages and comments about how it was helpful for a lot of people to hear my thought process. I'm glad I could help, I guess. So today we're playing a variant of version 3.9. We're trying something fun. We're going to be playing 2 Blood Moons. It's pretty good against Grixis Hover and 4-color control, so we're going to see if we can Blood Moon some people. I'm not sure how good it is, but it's fun, and we have the means to power it out through Lotus Petals and Red of Flame, so we're going to see if we can get some free wins. And while we wait for an opponent, a lot of people messaged me saying that they wouldn't have found those lines on their own from the last video, or I thought of a lot of things that perhaps they didn't in the past, and these sort of things we talk a lot about during the TES Infernal tutoring. And if you like that kind of stuff, you should consider signing up for a tutoring session. It will help you improve your game a lot. Joey Nichols has done 5 or 6, and he's gone from someone that I would have considered to be a novice in the beginning to someone that's fairly proficient at this point. Okay, we're facing someone that I've faced a bunch before. His name is Zarina. He streams a whole lot, and he usually plays some sort of blue-white deck. So that's what we're going to put him on. We won the die roll. And this hand is fine. You have a Probe, you have Ponders. The Chrome Mox is essentially a mulligan currently, but even as a 6-card hand, this hand is very strong. So we're going to keep. And we're going to hold the Probe until our combo turn. So hopefully we find a Burning Wish or Infernal Tutor off this Ponder, and then next turn we can Probe. Perfect. We stack the land on the bottom so that way we can fetch and maybe find a black card that we can imprint on Chrome Mox, and then we could go Probe, Therapy, Infernal Tutor, win. Theoretically, you could just name Forcible with Cabal Therapy and then Chrome Mox Probe, but if they have something like Spell Pierce or Flusterstorm, you kind of just eat shit, so it's best not to do that. They have a Brainstorm and some other stuff. So what we really care about this hand is Brainstorm and Forcible. Everything else is just sort of filter. That was perfect. So we're going to start off by casting Dark Ritual, and if they would like to Forcible, we definitely take that. I think perhaps it would have been better if we just played Cabal Therapy before Dark Ritual, because then they might have brainstormed in response. And then we would not be losing, because essentially now when we play our Infernal Tutor, we're giving them the opportunity to brainstorm into another Forcible. Where they might have not have forced it right off the get-go. I'm just going to break them both. There's some argument for keeping one behind, but at this point you're pretty much all in anyway, so there's no need to play this like song and dance. And we won. We could have played that a little bit better, but we were still fortunate enough to get there. So one downside is we only have one Xanad Swarm now, which is kind of crappy. We're going to bring in a couple Abrupt Decays as well. Basically, we're just trying to not lose to Metal Mage or Aether Sworn Canonist. We're going to board out a Chrome Mox and bring in one more decay. This hand is fine. It's definitely a hand that plays for the longer game. Not every opening hand that you draw should be a turn 1 or 2. Sometimes it's best to just grind them out. And a matchup like this where they don't have a lot of hate pieces, it's usually better to sit and wait. So you're noticing that I probably didn't play dress first turn. It's because it has, like, if we're not winning early, it's best to not play it. Because you're going to hit something like a Ponder. Maybe you'll hit a Force of Will. But maybe they have a Canonist here, that or Stoneforge. But you're not really getting a whole lot out of it. Okay, Canonist, sure. So we could Burning Wish for Grape Shot here, but we don't have an artifact to pair with the Grape Shot, so I'm going to cast Brainstorm and see if we can find one of those Abrupt Decays. And we did not. Put back Rite of Flame and the Charn. Double Canonist is very good. Regardless of whether or not we dressed on turn 1, we wouldn't have been able to beat 2 Canonists. We would have had to blind name Aethersworn Canonist, and that's pretty sketchy. So at this point, we want to Infernal Tutor for Abrupt Decay when we eventually find one. Odds aren't looking great right now. Yeah, we did not need lands 5 and 6, or 4 and 5. Counting's tough. We're just gonna concede that one. Like, we're not coming back from that. Alright, so we're on the play for game 3. I'm going to board out the island and bring back in a Chromox for a little bit of extra speed. And then I think we keep it the same. This hand isn't that good. I think this is actually maybe a mulligan. This is really tough. I'm going to keep it. We're just going to hope that our draw steps are fairly good. Our opponent mulliganed once. To me, it's very difficult to ship back something with this in a control matchup. We're going to draw our 5th land. Nope? Okay. That was a good draw. Alright, let's see what we can do with the dress here. By playing it on turn 3, it doesn't get hit by Spell Pierce or Flusterstorm. Does he have an old-fashioned counterspell? He does. And it looks like the coast is clear for us. I think he probably should have counterspelled that. It doesn't make sense to me why you wouldn't. Like, hidden information here is way more important. A little sketchy. There's no surgical means that we can use Dark Petition. Where before we might have played Scared and gotten Empty the Warrens. Yeah, we're just going to Dark Petition. Pretty good ad nauseum so far. At this point, we're just waiting for a tutor effect. And that's all we need. Okay, we'll stop there. Easy peasy. So if you look back at that game on turn 2, if we had gone Ritual Duress, we could have emptied for like 14 into a Stoneforge Mystic, and that would have been a lot closer game. But instead we waited a turn, we duressed playing around Spell Pierce or Flusterstorm, and we ended up getting a clean ad nauseum kill. So it's really just judgments based on what you feel, and after seeing Flusterstorm game 2, I didn't want to just jam a duress into one. I think our opponent didn't play the best of their ability, but it wouldn't have made a huge difference anyway. And now we're waiting on another opponent. Unfortunately, for the purposes of this recording, we did not get to jam any Blood Moons. And for once, I'm going to remember to update a record, because that's something I'm not good at. Round number 2. I don't believe I've faced this person before. And we won another die roll, which is nice. According to the internet, they play Storm. This is a little ballsy. Fuck it, though. Why not? So the reason I think that we're going to try this is we actually have a lot of looks in order to win this game. So we have 2 chances at drawing a land for Duress, or if we draw explosive cards, we could possibly Telemann, or even Empty. And if all goes wrong, we can Brainstorm with Petal. So screw it, let's keep. And our opponent has mulliganed. Miracles. Okay. That is not Storm. Dark Ritual Portent. Classic. Same set. Come on, Lion's Eye Diamond. Okay. We get a Lion's Eye Diamond, we might be able to storm the hard way with probes. Excuse me while I hit puberty. Alright, so I think here what we're going to do is brainstorm off of a pedal and hope that we hit. That was pretty good. So what we're going to do is we're definitely going to pass in flames. I know that much. This is a really sweet game. I'm glad this is being recorded. So 3 Red of Flames always make 7. So when you're counting, it's 7 minus 2 is 5, minus 4 is 1, and then you can replay everything. We might be able to group shot. That'd be cool. So we're going to fire off the probes first, because if we happen to draw the 4th probe, or the 4th Red of Flame, it makes more mana this way. Also, we might kill ourselves on turn 1, which is kind of cool. 16 life on 1 turn with probe on turn 1. We're going to brainstorm. Not great, but that's okay. Because you have enough to grape shot on turn 1. This is super fucking cool. And people say that grape shot has no purpose other than show loading. That was fucking awesome. I mean, you also can't look at that as something that's very probable, because that wasn't at all. So we're bringing in Xanadu and Decays along with Bayou. Empty's coming out for Tendrils. Board off the island, and then 4 Ponder. This hand is garbage. Yeah, you just can't keep that. Alright, we're going to try this one, I guess. Yeah, we'll put that on top. That allows us to empty turn 1. Not that that's really what we want to be doing in this matchup. No cantrip on turn 1 from our opponent. Let's start off with a probe. Maybe the Fluster Storm or something silly. If he brainstorms here, he might be hiding Terminus. But with our hand, we might not be able to play around it anyway. So we might just play into it and hope that it's not there. That was a very good draw. We might be able to just do a Past in Flames skill here. So the issue is that Past in Flames is in our main deck at the moment. If it was in our sideboard, this would be a lot easier. When you're lucky, I guess. So we needed 1 mana there in order to win because of we had a Dark Petition for Tendrils. Otherwise, we would have made empty for lethal goblins. But instead, we're just very, very skilled. I hope someone else finds the humor in this match. And they say the Epic Storm is not a Past in Flames deck. Still no Blood Moon. Although I think if we don't face any of the decks that Blood Moon is good against, we're probably in an okay spot anyway. I think it would be nice if we 5-0'd and this list got published so that way everyone thought Blood Moon was the new tech. Lincoln! He plays Bug Depths. Lincoln is also in the Leaving a Legacy group on Facebook for the podcast, for those of you that are unfamiliar. Hosted by Jerry, me, and Patrick Uglio, I think is how you say his last name. I don't know. And once again, we won another die roll. Is this hand good against Bug Depths? I honestly have no idea. Probably not. I think we should ship. Much better. I also think that some people are a little bit too afraid to mulligan with this deck, and sometimes it's just what you need to do. I think we're going to duress on turn 1, so it likely doesn't matter. Or maybe we'll wait. We'll put it on top, so that way we can brainstorm safely on turn 2. He plays Abrupt Decay too. We're just going to pass, because at least you can hide the Lion's Eye Diamond from discard. And I'm going to update our record quickly. We have to search up a non-basic in order to cast Brainstorm, so I'm just going to get Volcanic. Not a bad brainstorm. I know that Lincoln in the past has played cards like Stifle, and I don't know if he plays crop rotation for Tabernacle. Or if he plays Tabernacle, I know that he plays crop rotation. So I think we're going to put back one Ponder and one Petal. So that we don't really want Duress, but it's best to just be safe. Or we're to Ponder again. It's pretty good. Hopefully he doesn't play discard spell. But I think if he had a discard spell, he likely would have played it on turn 1. There should be a matchup where we get to bring in Blood Moon. Alright, Cabal Pick confirms he's on the Bug Depths deck and not something like 4-color control. Ooh, that's harsh. So our next 2 turns are Lion's Eye Diamond Land. Yeah. This isn't looking great now. If we had gone Lotus Petal Duress last turn, he had Brainstorm to protect. Pernicious Deed. Gross. I think we take Deed and then play out our hand. Because that protects us from Liliana. So Lincoln's deck, according to Google, plays 3 copies of Forcible, which is something we might need to be concerned about. But this is also a very old list from pre-banning of Sensi's Top. I think Lincoln's considering whether or not he should crop rotation for Dark Depths, and then next turn he can get stage and win. He actually might be a mana short if he does it next turn. We're going to hold that for now. We're not under any immediate danger, so we're just going to pass. We're just going to pass again. The longer you wait to brainstorm, the more value you get out of it, because it could find discard spell plus tutor or something along those lines, and it also, the longer you wait, the more likely you are to draw a shuffle effect. And I understand the want to play a brainstorm the turn you draw it, but it's not necessarily the best play. Okay, so he has another crop rotation, so on our end step he can make a Dark Depths 2020. So we didn't find the tutor we want, so we're actually going to put back Blindside Diamond in battle, just so that way we can dig a little more. Well, a fourth Blindside Diamond would be nice. It's not really what we need. And we're going to pay 2 life here because I think the blue mana is a little bit more valuable than the life resource. Okay, so he has a Stifle, and I think we can play around that. I'm actually a little surprised he didn't Stifle the fetch land. That seems like a mistake to me. Okay. Do you want to see if we can find... I'm weighing the odds of drawing a discard spell here off the probe versus the 2 life. And I think what we should do is pay the blue mana. Oh, that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because we wanted that in our deck for post ad nauseum. Hold control, and then let's jam this Infernal Tutor. And I think we're actually going to hold back the other Blindside Diamond, so that way we can have it for Infernal Tutor post ad nauseum if it resolves. Alright, here's to hoping Lincoln doesn't find Forcible. There's no harm in us flipping more cards because we can't die. We've already revealed the Empty the Warrens, and now we'll stop. I don't believe we've played a land yet. Maybe we did. Oh yeah, we played the Bloodstained Mire to start the turn. So this tells Lincoln that he has to crop rotation now if he wants to do it. Come on, Lincoln. While Lincoln stalls and burns down his clock, I guess we'll talk about the fact that Lincoln is the gentleman that is responsible for the Top Decked app for your mobile device. I use Top Decked when I go to big events because when you're at a Grand Prix or Star City or a lot of other big events like the MTG First or even Eternal Extravaganza, it sends you a push notification to your phone at the beginning of each round, often before the round is actually even paired. So you end up being able to move through the crowd a little bit faster, and the app has other functionality as well, but I think that's the highlight. Like, you can submit your deck list and keep deck lists in it and everything else, but I think the push notifications for me are why I really like it. And now Lincoln is going to eat some tendrils. And then in comes the Blood Moons. So we're actually going to board the Empty out. We know that Lincoln has Stifle and Pernicious Deed. I think it's just a little bit too much of a liability. Because of that, we're going to board in Tendrils. And I think we're actually going to board out one Burning Wish and one Ponder. And call it a day. In theory, you could board in Chain of Vapor. We know that Lincoln is a Dark Depths deck, but he also has a lot of control elements. Excuse me. And I feel like the odds of you getting him on bouncing his Dark Depths isn't super likely. And most of the time, you'd rather have something like Ponder in your deck rather than Chain of Vapor. I wouldn't expect something like Sphere Resistance out of his board. Maybe just the green-black list rather than the bug one. Oh shit, we could have a turn 1 Blood Moon. Let's make this happen. So this Blood Moon was either a Burning Wish or a Ponder. So it would have been nice to fetch up a basic first, but we're playing around Stifle, but also we didn't have a Lotus Petal or anything. And part of the reason that Blood Moon is even being considered is that you have cards like Lotus Petal and Chromox to help you cast your non-red cards, but also we play tons of red effects. Granted, we boarded out a Burning Wish here. Maybe we should have boarded out another Ponder, but we win the game with red cards a lot of the time. And we also have Lion's Eye Diamond to generate black in specific scenarios. I'm actually looking forward to Lincoln's response to Blood Moon. After 45 minutes of thinking, Lincoln has taken an action. Lincoln says cute to our Blood Moon. At this rate, we can probably just time Lincoln out if we manage to lose this game. So we play the Lion's Eye Diamond here just to not lose to something weird like Daze. Lincoln's deck doesn't likely play Daze, but there's no reason to not play out the Lion's Eye Diamond just to make sure. Boom! Blood Moon! This is great. I hope you enjoy your mountain, Lincoln. He just surgicaled his own surgical for a shuffle effect. Gotta love it. Does that still shuffle? I don't even know. Probably. Yeah, I think it would because you look at your deck and then it shuffles. I just didn't put it in the action log. I guess the downside would be if he happens to play Dark Depths and then blows up Blood Moon. But I don't think he boards in anything to blow up Blood Moon. Like, I don't think he has Corrosive Grip. Ooh, that Chromax is super good. We're going to hold it, though, because we want to see which basic we draw first. And also build up the 7 cards, see what color is more valuable. See what Lincoln has. Mindbreak Trap. Wow. Mindbreak Trap is such a bad card. Especially in decks that can support blue, there's like almost no reason to not just run Foster Storm. Okay, I think at this point we definitely want the Chromox to be black over blue. It also might have been a good idea to wait because he has to start going to cleanup soon. But I guess he still had a land in his hand. This is fun magic. Ooh, he has a forest. Which means he can cast Crop Rotation and Deathray Shaman. All we need is an Infernal Tutor or a Burning Wish at this point. Maybe we should have played out the Lion's Eye Diamond because he's probably getting a swamp here. And then he can Duress or Thoughtseize us next turn. He got Island, okay. Which means that he now has access to Stifle. That Chromox play is really biting us right now. Alright, so we're going to play out the dress now, so that way his Thoughtseize isn't super good. We just like haven't drawn any business bills. Granted, we could have waited for the Chromox, but we would still be brainstorming into rainstorms. You do another Thoughtseize. That really, really sucks for us because now he can take a brainstorm, play Snapcaster Mage, and surgical the brainstorms. And I think like the real impact that has on the game is if we manage to draw a Lotus Petal or a Chromox for the basic island, is that was the wrong play, is that we can't brainstorm into the wind because that Dark Ritual doesn't change anything about this game. Okay. I don't think that you can use Snapcaster to flashback Mindbreak Trap, so that's good news for us. But also, Mindbreak Trap wouldn't even work here because we're just casting Infernal Tutor into ad nauseum. Did he have Intuition before? No, he must have just drawn it. We're going to make Lincoln kill us because he's been playing sort of slowly, so we could theoretically get his clock down to like 4 minutes by the end of this game, maybe 5, and then he could time out for game 3. It's not the best way to win, but a win's a win. We could also just draw Burning Wish into something like Empty the Warrens and stall, or Burning Wish for Past in Flames, because he can't activate his Death Ray to exile our graveyard. Granted, he does have Snapcaster Surgical. We're going to hold the Lotus Petal because there's very little reason to just jam it out now. He targeted Crop Rotation. Let's see what he gets. If it's basic Swamp, it's probably okay, because then he can start using his Death Ray. Mm-hmm. That makes the Mindbreak Trap make a little bit more sense, but I still think it's bad. I don't even know if this does anything. Yeah, I think we just are like kind of pigeonholed here into getting Empty the Warrens. And that just makes him spend 3 turns using Deathrite. We could flashback Cabal Therapy, but it has very little purpose at this point in the game, so there's just no reason to. I forgot about the Stifle. We drew all of our non-basics as well this game, which was sort of unfortunate. I still think that Blood Moon was super awesome, and it bought us a whole lot of time. For game 3, we'll try setting out a Ponder for a Burning Wish, because that way we have one more card that works with Blood Moon. I've never played the Blood Moons before, so I'm kind of winging it as I go. And if our opponent has Leovolds, which I didn't know that Lincoln did, it might be best to board Enchanted Vapor just because you can use it on Leovold before you Tendrils. And on top of that, also with Leovold, we probably want Empty in the deck, is it still works with Dark Depths. So I think that's good enough, and then we'll board out the Ponders. This has been a super interesting match. I think this is probably a keep. I think we're just going to fetch for Volcanic Island and pass. So this plays around Stifle. And then next turn we can probe and hopefully draw another Rite of Flame or Ritual into Empty. Seems weird that he'd lead off with Tropical Island, but okay. I think right there I would have preferred Chin of Vapor be a ponder. So he's going to Surgical us right now, which is okay. And now something we can do is empty for 4 goblins, and that puts some pressure on him to cast Maelstrom Pulse next turn. And if he doesn't, we can Cabal Therapy with the goblins. Yep. We're probably still going to name Forcible here, and if he has Mindbreak Trap, we just don't combo off. So now we hit all 5 of our fetchable lands. We no longer have empty in our deck either, so we can go fairly low. But this is turning out to be a very good ad nauseum. We'll just stop there. I don't know what he would be considering casting Surgical Extraction on at this point. It's just not very relevant. Also, with Lincoln wasting her time, if he doesn't concede, I'm going to play Chrome Mox, imprint Infernal Tutor, cast 3 Dark Rituals, play Chrome Mox. Imprint Brainstorm, Chain of Vapor, sack all my stuff, and just waste time. What'll happen is, I'm not sure what will happen. Lincoln only has 1:50 left. At the rate he's clicking OK, we could time him out before we actually cast Tendrils. Lincoln is surgicaling his own Force of Wills. And then he conceded. Alright, well that was fun. We didn't get to use Blood Moon in Game 3. Blood Moon was fairly awesome in Game 2, considering it bought us a whole lot of time, but ultimately we did not win that game. And we are currently 3-0. I faced this person before. I can't remember what they play, though. I want to say it was like Red-Black Reanimator or Grixis Delver, but I'm not sure. And we lost our first die roll. Grixis Delver. And Black-Red Reanimator. I was spot on. But more Grixis Delver than anything else. And this hand is bad against Bolt Thex. Recently they've been on Maverick. It doesn't matter what they were playing. These hands just haven't been keepable. This hand is trash too. Is this better than a 4-card hand though? Let's go to 4. Okay. We're gonna bottom that. I don't... Is it red-black? Or is this the Maverick list? I think we're just going to sit and play this out just so we can see what our opponent's actually playing. Like, it's no secret what the username Bryant Cook is playing, but I'd like some information on how to sideboard against your opponent, because in reality, we're not winning this game. Yeah, it's the Maverick list. Come on, brainstorm. In our opponent's sideboard, they have 2 copies of Zealous Persecution, and they also have 3 Thoughtseize and 2 Surgicals. So our opponent actually has quite a bit for us, and a Gaddock Teeg in the board. We're going to just concede here. So unlike against Death and Taxes, they have outs to us just dropping a ton of creatures on the table. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to. I think we'll probably board in the land for now. I think that's better than boarding on a Ponder for this game for, use your words, Bryant, for the Ponders, because Abrupt Decay is really a lot better on the draw than it is on the play. On the play, you want to be casting Ponders so you can set up a turn 2. I think that's it. Bayou is also a land that untaps under Choke, which our opponent has 2 of in their sideboard. This is a fairly good matchup, too, and it's a shame that we had a mulligan 3 times in the first game. Puts us at a pretty big disadvantage because we'll be on the draw if there's a game 3. This hand is fine. It'd be better with a tutor effect, but it's playable. Two copies of Green Sun Zenith. Do we go all in on turn 1? I think we should probably just hit the Green Suns. Because if we draw another mana source next turn, we might be able to Dark Petition for Ad Nauseam. And Green Sun Zenith allows them to go turn 1, search up a Dryad Arbor, turn 2, search up something else. That was not the kind of mana source I was talking about, deck. So our choices here are, do we make 12 goblins, or do we get Dark Petition and the next turn we can Dark Petition, but if they draw Hate Bear, we're in a bad spot. Goblins, they have 2 outs and they have more Hate Bear, so I think we're supposed to go for it here. and you should cast your Chromoxes in general, not just in this situation, but in general, before you play out your Lion's Eye Diamonds to avoid effects that would destroy it. It's just like poor sequencing, and you always want to do things properly so that when it does matter, you don't trip up on something so ridiculous. I also think that Goblins is the correct play because our opponent boarded into copies of Thoughtseize, and just waiting gives them more time, and they just have less outs if we just jam. And there's no reason to just blind sacrifice a Goblin token to Cabal Therapy, so we're going to pass. They do play 2 copies of Stoneforge Mystic, and our opponent conceded. Alright, so on the draw we are bringing in Abrupt Decay. Okay, we currently have 1 Ponder, which isn't great, but I don't think we're supposed to board in anything else. Normally it would be a second Empty the Warrens. This hand is not great, but it does have 3 lands and Abrupt Decay and Chain of Vapor for their Hate Bears. And we can rely a little bit on Brainstorm if they don't Thoughtseize it. We're going to reluctantly keep this. It's not terrific by any means. It also just like sort of loses to a turn 1 Mother of Ruins. Ideally, they play Green Sun Zenith here for Gaddock Teeg over something like Thalia. Or, you know, not do anything, that would be nice too, but if you had to pick a Hate Bear for them to play, it would be Gaddock Teeg. It's looking like it is going to be a Green Sun Zenith. Or just a Knight. Okay. We are not getting ideal draws here. I think they probably kept this hand without Hate Bears because they have Zealous Persecution. Or maybe even something like Mindbreak Trap. Otherwise, they would have mulliganed for something a little bit more aggressive. Also, I love the Nambo between Deathray Shaman and Knight. It's really nice. Canonist. We're going to put back 1 Abrupt Decay and 1 Chromox. search up the value right now. And then we're just going to main phase Abrupt Decay. This gets around something like English, like Golgari Charm regenerating the creature, which I've experienced in the past. I am 0% shocked that my Bayou got wastelanded there. So if our opponent doesn't do anything here, we need to weigh the mana versus extra card off of Brainstorm. So if we Brainstorm during the end step, we get to see 3 cards, we have to redraw 1. If we untap and draw, we get to dig an extra card deeper at the cost of a mana. And I'm not sure which play is better here. Part of me thinks that we should probably just untap and draw a card deeper, because the difference between Lion's Eye Diamond and not Lion's Eye Diamond here is huge. And it looks like they are going to pass. Question is, do we Chain of Vapor though? Probably not. Not the greatest draw. Mostly because, 1, we can't cast it, and 2, we're essentially at 8 life. And that was a terrible Brainstorm. Okay, we probably lost this one. You can make some argument that if I Brainstormed on the end step, I could add Nauseam this turn, but that's just being kind of like a know-it-all wise-ass, because your odds of drawing exactly a Nauseam there, you shouldn't play to those. You should be playing for your most probable out, and that wasn't it. Our opponent here is likely just going to try to get their bin very full and then swing for lethal. And then we'll Chain of Vapor and hopefully draw a Lion's Eye Diamond for a turn. So they're going to swing for 5. They can activate Death Rate, which would shut off our fetch land. I think our best odds of winning next turn probably aren't even with Lion's Eye Diamond, but we really want to draw a Brainstorm. I had an opponent once with a Chain of Vapor get so excited that I cast it, targeting a Knight of the Reliquary, that they sacrificed a land and then were forced to bounce their own Knight of the Reliquary. a different knight, so they actually had 2 knights out, and then ended up passing the turn with when they had lethal in play. It was pretty fantastic. Not a bad draw. But I don't think that's good enough. So I was right about them keeping because of Zealot's Persecution, but they also have a Surgical. Can we win from here? I don't even know if we can. Because our opponent can activate Deathrite to gain 2 as well. And they have Deathrite plus Surgical, which likely shuts off Past in Flames. Storm is currently 1. These are 5, so we can get up to 6. 7 with Infernal Tutor, 8 with Burning Wish. So we'd be 1 short of a natural Tendrils. But maybe if we can get him to activate his Deathrite to exile and then Surgical, that seems not great. So I think in order to do that, we have to Dark Ritual for a Rite of Flame. So I guess like the bait here is getting him to play Surgical for life. Okay. So now we need our opponent to cast Surgical and we'll win. But I don't know how probable that is. What is our opponent even considering here? Like, you just click OK. I mean, if they want to cast Surgical, we'll take the free win. So, our out now is to Tendrils and then hopefully draw Burning Wish off the top and Grape Shot them to death. Like, we're not likely winning this game. We needed our opponent to bite on the Surgical and they just didn't do it. The most likely time for them to cast Surgical would have been in response to Chromox. Because the last card in our hand. So we lose. We had to draw Burning Wish this turn, but we also needed our opponent to surgical in our upkeep for the storm count. Otherwise, they could gain 2 life with Canonist. So we've lost this match. Next turn, they can swing out, and I think Zealous Persecution their team for lethal. If for some reason they don't do that, we hold the land so that if we draw Brainstorm, we can have 2 outs. But I think they probably just have enough. Seven, 8, 9, 10. No, they don't have enough to Zealous us out. Did I count wrong? 5, 9, 11. Yeah, they can Zealous us out. Yep. I just want to draw the top card to see what our draw step would have been. Okay. 3-1. Let's see if we can finish this strong with a 4-1. Kind of unfortunate that we gave that match away, but can't do much when you mulligan to 4 game 1. We already have a new opponent, so that's awesome. I've never faced this person before, but we did win the die roll, which is nice. I think I've said that about 4 times so far during this recording. I'm not finding anything on this person's username. I think this hand is mulligan. It just doesn't do anything. Even if you hit a land, you're just going to kind of stall for a while, so I think you have to ship that. This seems okay. Our opponent mulliganed to 4. I think with a hand like this, you kind of just have to fetch up Underground Sea. You could search up Island, but Island sets you so far back because you're going to need black and red in order to win. So if you get wastelanded, you get wastelanded. And they're on Miracles. Is our opponent playing Search for Azcanta here? predict. Seems weird to play a main phase to me. They named us. That would make a little bit more sense. Okay. We're going to have to shuffle that. That sucked. Unfortunately, we kind of have to name Jace the Mind Sculptor right here. Because if they get to untap with Jace, we probably lose. And we hit 2. If we can find Dark Ritual or Lion's Head Diamond, we can cast Ad Nauseam this turn. That should do it. We still have a land drop left as well. It's kind of unfortunate we only faced one deck where we brought in Blood Moon. I mean, version 3.9 is very strong. I'm not surprised that we're doing decent. Not saying we're going to win the match, but we're doing okay enough. So, like, the list should be strong enough to carry 2 bad cards in the sideboard. We'll stop there. We don't have any 4s left in our deck, but there's no need to waste time. Because we're already there, might as well grape shot. I think our opponent might have been mulliganing a little too aggressively. Mulliganing to 4 with miracles generally doesn't happen unless you're digging for something specific, and I don't think Counterbalance is worth mulliganing that aggressive for. This hand is a mulligan. I just don't think it does enough. It's also very slow. You get 3 looks at a discard spell, or a land for a discard spell, which is nice. But outside of that, it doesn't really do anything. You know what? Screw it. We're going to keep. I just want to see what will happen if we keep this. We're already up a game. This is one of these hands where if you take the chance and you hit a land off your draw step, it could become very powerful. It's definitely a risk-reward hand. Rite of Flame is about the last card I wanted to draw right there. Come on, Black Source. We're about to get fucked. Yeah, I guess we're still on it. Let's see what this brainstorm can find us. That was good. Unfortunately, we can't go off this turn without just jamming, and I feel like just jamming isn't our best choice. But if they have Forcible next turn, so let's think about this. If they do have Forcible, next turn we could duress, they can cast Counterspell and then force anyway. So I think it's actually best if we do actually just jam here, because regardless of whether or not we wait, they're going to have a Counterspell. It appears that he's F6'd. But I know that's something that like Sam Brukus does, is he F6s until his opponent plays a relevant spell and then he forces. But it appears our opponent is actually just dead. Well, yeah, they're probably dead. I'd like to thank everyone for watching. And unfortunately, we didn't really get to Blood Moon that many fools. Let's probe them and see what they drew. Counterbalance. So we have to Burning Wisher Dark Petition, or even Past in Flames in order to win. probably just easier for us to Past in Flames and win, to be honest. And that's the match. So we went 4-1. We had a pretty epic game with Blood Moon. We had a turn 1 with Past in Flames with Grape Shot. We just Grape Shotted it again with Past in Flames. It's a pretty good event, I think. Feel free to comment and let me know what you thought of the video. I don't think Blood Moon's probably worth it, but it's just something I wanted to play for fun, so don't get all worked up. And if you think you're interested in a TES Infernal tutoring session, just message me, let me know. Use the contact form on the website. So once again, thank you for watching and have a good day.